Hello, this video will show you what not to do with Adobe Illustrator. Now I'm in an older version than you are, but essentially it's the same concept of what you don't want to do. So by now you will have come up with your idea for creating your stained glass. I'm just going to throw a few shapes on here, and you notice that if you've read everything and watched everything, that Adobe Illustrator is mathematically based vector graphics. It is not made from pixels. So if you have a lot of items on here and you decide you want to fill them in, what I've watched students do over the years is take the paintbrush, select a color, and now notice, because I had a shape selected, it automatically filled in. But I'm going to deselect now and just click off of that. But if they don't know how to use the fill and stroke colors, they'll often come in here and start doing this. And they'll start coloring with the paintbrush, as if they're using a coloring book. Now I'm going to switch that to a different color. And you'll see that each time I try and color like this, so you can see it appears to work, so why wouldn't I do this? I'm going to switch colors every time just so that you see ultimately what happens. Remember, I said that this is math-based vector shapes. You can always increase the size of these. It's not pixels like it was in Adobe Photoshop. So yes, it does fill in all the gaps. I have to keep going over it and over it and over it. And you can see it's really tedious and really hard to get close to the edge there if you actually, now in this case, the other shape is not behind it. I thought maybe it was, but my green is not inside that. It's literally scrubbing over the edges. So what people will then do is they'll go, oh, I can't have it over the edge. So they'll go shift this to white. And now they'll come in here and oops, they ended up losing their black line there. So they get rid of most of those bits. There's still some bits in there. Then they'll go and get a black stroke and try and fill this in. And it's just a disaster. It's not neat, it's not tidy, but more importantly, if I go to select all, look at all these points. I'm going to increase your view a bit so you can see this. Because it's math-based and vector-based, what's happened is that every one of these shapes has all these points around it. So I'll select all again for you to see that. The more points you have on a shape or a line or an object, the slower the file in terms of loading, and the larger the file size. So this is a bit of a disaster. You will really confuse your printer if you're going to have this mass produced and you have all this junk everywhere. So instead, I would encourage you to use the live paint bucket. If you want, now notice, please select the path to define. Okay, so I didn't select anything. The good thing about Illustrator is it yells at you. So I've got my selection here, and it put a line in. Whoops, it says, where do you want? Oh, I'm on black and white. So little clue there for me to go fix it, and it will allow me to dump the color in. So it's not really painting with paint buckets like a paint program does. And I didn't really need the live paint because I made a shape. Instead, I could just go get the shape, change the foreground color. I like to keep out my swatches so that I can see it, and change the stroke color to anything that I want, and I can increase that. Now remember, you're doing stained glass, so maybe you do want a funny color. It's up to you. So essentially, avoid the kind of scribbling in and filling. It's not like crayons. Hopefully that helps. Thank you.